Join us as we delve into the chilling tale of John Weaver, a farmer whose peaceful life is shattered by the eerie laughter of unseen children echoing through his fields at night. With his two sons, Tom and Eddie, John embarks on a quest to uncover the dark secrets that haunt their land. What they discover will change their lives forever. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more spine-chilling horror stories.
John Weaver was a man of the land, as his father and his father's father had been before him. His farm, nestled in the heart of the Midwest, sprawled over 100 acres of fertile soil. He lived there with his two sons, Tom and Eddie, after his wife passed away 5 years ago. The farm was a place of solace for John, a sanctuary where the daily grind of hard work kept the pain of loss at bay. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, John and his sons finished their supper and prepared for bed. The night was unusually calm, with only the occasional chirp of crickets and the rustling of leaves in the gentle breeze. But as John lay in his bed, just on the edge of sleep, he heard something that made him sit up straight. It was the sound of children laughing. John listened intently, trying to locate the source of the laughter. It seemed to come from the fields just beyond the barn. He got out of bed, careful not to wake his sons, and crept to the window. The moonlight cast eerie shadows across the fields, but there were no children in sight. "Maybe I'm just tired," he muttered to himself. But the laughter continued, faint, yet unmistakable. John shook his head, trying to dismiss it as a trick of the mind, and eventually fell into a restless sleep. The next morning, John told Tom and Eddie about the laughter. Both boys, in their early teens, looked at him with wide eyes. "Do you think it was a ghost, Pa?" Eddie asked, his voice tinged with excitement and fear. "Ghost or not, we need to find out what's causing it," John replied, determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. "We'll check the fields tonight." As the day wore on, John couldn't shake the feeling of unease. He worked alongside his sons, harvesting crops and tending to the animals, but his mind was preoccupied with thoughts of the laughter. The sun set once more, and the farm was enveloped in darkness. John and his sons positioned themselves near the barn, waiting. Hours passed, and just as they were about to give up, the laughter began again. This time, it was louder and seemed to be all around them. The boys clutched at John, their faces pale with fear. "Stay close," John whispered, leading them into the fields. The laughter grew louder, echoing through the night air, but still, no children were to be seen. John's heart pounded in his chest as they walked deeper into the fields, the stalks of corn towering over them like silent sentinels. Suddenly, the laughter stopped. The silence that followed was almost deafening. John strained his ears, but all he could hear was the rapid beating of his own heart. Days turned into weeks, and the mysterious laughter continued each night. The once peaceful farm was now shrouded in an atmosphere of dread. John and his sons grew more anxious with each passing day. The townsfolk started to talk, and rumors of haunted fields spread quickly. One evening, John decided to take a different approach. He placed small lanterns at various points in the field and armed himself with a shotgun. If someone or something was out there, he would be ready. As night fell, the laughter began again. John and his sons moved stealthily through the fields, using the lanterns as guides. Suddenly, Eddie stumbled upon something unusual, a small, weathered notebook lying on the ground. John picked it up and flipped through the pages. It was filled with childish drawings and cryptic messages. "Look at this," he whispered, showing the book to his sons. The drawings depicted children playing in fields, but there was something off about them. The children's faces were distorted, their smiles too wide, their eyes too large. The messages were equally unsettling. "They come at night, we are their toys, and never laugh back." "What does it mean, Pa?" Tom asked, his voice trembling. John shook his head, his mind racing. "I don't know, but we need to find out." Determined to uncover the truth, John visited the local library the next day. He spent hours poring over old newspapers and records, searching for any clue about the farm's history. Finally, he found something. Decades ago, the farm had belonged to another family, the Harrisons. They had 3 children who mysteriously disappeared one night, never to be found. The tragedy had cast a shadow over the farm, and it was eventually sold to John's grandfather. Armed with this new information, John returned home. That night, he decided to confront whatever was haunting his farm. As the laughter echoed through the fields once more, John followed the sound to its source. A lone scarecrow standing in the middle of the field. It was an old, tattered thing. But as John approached, he noticed something strange. The scarecrow's head was not made of straw, but of an old, cracked porcelain doll's head. Its eyes seemed to follow him, and the laughter grew louder, more menacing. John raised his shotgun, ready to destroy the scarecrow. But a voice stopped him. "Please, don't hurt us," it said, soft and pleading. John froze. "Who are you?" he demanded. The scarecrow's head tilted slightly. "We are the children, the ones who vanished. We are trapped here, bound to this land by a curse." The scarecrow explained that many years ago, a dark force had taken the children and bound their spirits to the fields. They had been playing, laughing, when the entity came. It fed off their joy and trapped them in an eternal state of haunting. "How do I free you?" John asked, his heart aching for the lost souls. "You must find the source of the curse," the scarecrow replied. "It lies beneath the old oak tree at the edge of the field. Destroy it and we will be free." John nodded, determined to end the nightmare. He and his sons made their way to the old oak tree. Beneath its gnarled roots, they found a small, ancient chest. Inside was a sinister-looking amulet, pulsing with a malevolent energy. "This must be it," John said, lifting the amulet carefully. He placed it on a large rock, and with a single powerful strike of his axe, shattered it into pieces. The moment the amulet was destroyed, a gust of wind swept through the fields, carrying away the laughter. The oppressive atmosphere lifted, replaced by a profound silence. John and his sons felt a sense of peace wash over them. The next morning, as they walked through the fields, they noticed something remarkable. New crops had begun to sprout, healthier and more vibrant than ever before. The farm, once again, felt like a place of life and hope. John looked at his sons and smiled. "The curse is broken. Children are free." From that day on, the laughter in the fields was never heard again. The farm flourished, and John and his sons continued to work the land, forever grateful for the peace that had been restored. But every now and then, on a quiet night, John would think he heard the faint sound of children's laughter carried on the breeze, a reminder of the spirits that once haunted his fields and the mysterious power of the land they called home.